Hi, I'm Connie Whitman, your host, and you're listening to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net. As always, thank you so much for joining me and my guests today. So my inspirational quote is by the ever wonderful Lucille Ball. And Lucille says, love yourself first, and everything else falls in line. You really have to love yourself to get anything done in this world. So, of course, the question is, do you love yourself? And what does this really mean? And I know for most of us, that's a tough one to answer. Really think about it, though, for a second. We are so good at playing the tracks of self-improvement, personal development, and hashing through our faults. We're really good at that. Can we find time to love that you that's really uniquely you? What if there's a better way to really see yourself and approach self-love, healing, and confidence every day, where we learn how to love ourselves, enabling us to be our unique and wonderful selves? Well, of course, you're in for a treat today. My guest is an expert on love. She is a love coach and an international speaker. She works with successful high achievers and helps them unleash their feminine power and become a magnet for conscious relationships and love. She's the founder of Orion's Method and the host of the popular podcast Stellar Life, which I was a guest. She helps women increase their energy level, develop a sexy confidence, ignite their passion, and discover a sense of freedom, ease, and flow. She's also a contributor to Intent.com blog and the Huffington Post. So please help me welcome back my guest, second or third time, Orion Talmay, and we're going to discuss love. So Orion, thanks so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Connie. I'm so excited, and I love you.
I love you. Back at you, sister. So now, Orion, is this the second or third time you're on? I forget.
Is this
second?
Third?
Is it the
Second?
third? I know
One of them.
I know I did your podcast, Stellar Life, not too long ago. So maybe
and you were brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was talking about my favorite topic, sales. So, when you're good at something, you know how to talk about it. So let's jump into this whole love thing, because I think in today's world, the word love and showing love, especially in the workplace, it's almost like a bad word for us to use. So what are some of the ways that we can increase self-love?
So the first question is, if you don't love yourself, who do you love? I mean, do you like a facade of yourself? Do you like a version of yourself that you might be in the future? What about that present self of yours? Like, how do you love him or her? How do you connect? And self-love doesn't mean being selfish. Self-love doesn't mean the duck faces on Instagram. That's not self-love. That's all external. Self-loves come from the inside. And you want to nourish yourself. If you want to have the space to give love to somebody else, because if you don't know how to love yourself and embrace yourself when you attract a partner, or even in your other relationships, it's going to be hard to give them love if you don't have anything to give from. But when you're full of self-love, meaning self-care, appreciation, self-confidence, knowing who you are, secure in who you are, loving yourself enough to say no, loving yourself enough to take care of yourself, and then you are full, and then you're in a higher vibration. From that place, when your cup is full, you can let everybody drink. But if you're empty and you find somebody else who's wanting love, then you can't give them anything, and then the relationship breaks.
Yeah, and it's really hard to, all the things you went through, self-care, eating right, health, exercise, all those things are self-care. As a mom, right, and I know you're soon to be a mom, we give to our kids, we give to a spouse or a significant other or a partner. It's hard to take care of yourself because you have to fit in on the the hierarchy of who needs help or who needs care. But the reality, the way you just described it, is when you're full and your cup is full, it really does flow over, and it's easier to give love or take care of, or whatever your responsibilities are. It becomes easier because you're healthy within. And it's sad, and I know, Orion, you see this all the time with your clients. There's this level of not self-love, and I want to say loathing. I don't, that's kind of too strong, but that we put ourselves last all the time, so that we come from this place of exhaustion and who needs me now, which is the opposite of what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and it's not a badge of honor to not take care of yourself.
No.
It's not a badge of honor to say, "Oh, I'm so stupid," or all those. Either whether you say it in your mind or to other people to make them feel better about themselves, this is not a badge of honor. Because when you model behavior, and you model to other people how they need to treat you. If you treat yourself with love and respect, others will too. If you don't feel worthy enough, if you are not in the place of feeling secure, then other people will sense it. They can smell it, and then they will treat you accordingly.
But I think we allow people to take advantage of us too, because the badge of honor, that was an interesting choice of words. I know people that they feel like, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and I think, okay, good, good for you. That's great. But why do you have to tell everybody what you're doing? It's almost like, look at me, I'm a martyr. And being a martyr is not self-care or self-love by any stretch of the imagination. And, Orion, you and I were business owners. We're busy. I get it. But you have to find your own space, your own time. And the other thing, do you find this with your clients? When we're running, I did this. We're not stopping to go within to find what truly I desire, or what is the next thing for me, my next passion in my business or whatever it is. Do you find that a lot, that we run so we don't have to go within? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. We do busy work because the hardest thing is to sit and think about what you really want. That takes a lot of courage. Because if you know exactly what you want, and maybe your life is not exactly how you want it, you might have to take some actions to change it, and change is scary, and we can be fearful of change. So yeah, but in reality, taking those moments to figure out exactly what you want will put your life in the best path that you can. And yes, we're busy, and there's business, and there's so many things in the way. But even if it's 5 minutes a day, even if it's just breathing whenever you have a little break, even if you have to lock yourself in the bathroom for 10 minutes and just unwind and relax, those are the moments that will shape your life.
You're making me laugh when you said, take a minute to breathe. I have a cousin. He's a brilliant architect in Manhattan. And he's just such a love too. So he and I talk about meditation and the universe and all of that, and how we can manifest our life. And so we talk a lot about that kind of stuff. But he cracked me up one day. We were talking about meditating. He said, you know what, Con? He said, sometimes when it gets so stressful, demands, if he's working on, he works on mansions and a penthouse, rooftops, doing extensions. I mean, he's high end. He said, sometimes you get so stressed out. He goes, I go to the men's room, I go into a stall, and he goes, I'd set my watch timer, and he goes, and I just meditate for 5 minutes, where I go through like my little mantra of, you got this, you can do this, you're at peace, breathe. And he goes, and I do my breathing exercises. And I cracked up, because I thought, here's this, high power architect, brilliant, dealing with these high end people. He goes to the men's room to breathe.
Yeah, no, I mean, life can be overwhelmed, and especially if you are very empathic, you can absorb people's energies.
Yeah.
And you can almost go in meditation and create like a bubble of peace, where you go into meditation and you're like, okay, this is my bubble of peace, and nothing negative can go through, and you can expand it or shrink it close to your body, just to protect yourself energetically. which is also like protecting yourself energetically is a part of self-love. And I like that he went to the bathroom, to the men's room, and just like took the time to go in and say, you're awesome, you're amazing, because our brain is so powerful. And when we give our brain when we reinforce positive affirmations over and 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 over again, our brain we will believe it. For me, what I do is beyond that. I'll go, and if I'm in a very business environment where everybody are quite serious and professional, and everybody has their own facade, and it can be intense. Maybe thousands of people are in a conference.
Sure.
I'll go to the ladies' room, and I'll just do hip circles, just to move that, like, that energy, and just relax, and just move that powerful kundalini energy, which is the serpent-like energy that is in the base of your spine, and awaken it, and move through the chakras and feel it with light, and then when I go out, I have this like extra sense of confidence about me. Like, people look at me, they don't know what it is. I look prettier, but it's not the makeup.
That's right.
It's the inner beauty that shines.
That's right.
It's the inner happiness that shines.
It's funny that you say that. Have you, and I know you have, Orion, we meet people and you think they're very average, but then I'll say to my husband, they were beautiful. And he'll look at me and he'll go, I know what you mean. And they're very average looking. They're not models, right? Supermodels or anything. Probably had very limited makeup on, but there was something about their inner self that you feel.
You're drawn.
Yes.
We are, I mean, we have this magnetic, energetic, electric field around us, and we can sense other people's energies. And if you are in a place of higher vibration, meaning self-love, content, happy, people are drawn to you. That's
Totally.
another reason. If you don't want to do self-love because you want to love yourself, then do it because it can help your business. People do business with people that they like. And if you're emanating this like core powerful energy, then people are like, I want that. People are drawn to energy. People are drawn to happiness. I mean, especially in a world where most people don't smile. Usually, you see people in the street, they don't smile, or you go in the elevator, everybody with their head down, and nobody's looking at anyone. It's like, please press this button. That's great. Awesome. Even when you smile at people sometimes. So I come from a culture where people really talk to each other all the time, strangers, and it's normal. And here I had to learn to adjust, because if I would start talking to people, they would think I'm crazy. Like, who's this crazy woman? Why is she talking to me? Does she want something from me? No, I just want to talk. It's just like, you're a human. Hi.
Yeah. You could talk to a brick wall and get a reaction, because you have so much energy. And one, you said in that little piece right there where you responded, you used the word happiness, and I love that word, because humans think happiness is external, right? It's out there, where happiness is really that internal. So that self-love, does that help us create that energy of happiness, or help us find that happiness and peace?
Absolutely. Yes, people look for external validations. It's also influenced by Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all those social media platforms where we are so addicted to the little thing, to the likes, to the validation, to the comments. Oh, people, strangers I don't even know, commented and liked my post. I must be loved. And it becomes more and more severe, especially with the younger generation. There are more cases of depression and isolation, even suicide, because if they think that this external validation is life, especially the young ones, the young teenagers. This is life, and if I don't get this validation, and if If my friend has 200,000 followers and I have 600, that means I'm not cool. That means I am not good enough. All that validation comes from what other people thinks, and there are also, let's say you get to that mega level of millions of followers, then you get hit with all the trolls online, and it's such a difficult world to navigate. And so we need to remind ourselves that we are valid regardless. Dr. DeMartini, who is one of my favorite mentors, says, whatever you did or did not do, you are worthy of love. Whatever you did or did not do, you are worthy of love. So the being worthy of love is something that is your birthright, something you were born with. And you give yourself the love first, and you hang out with people that give you that love.
Absolutely.
And you just push away all the naysayers. And the way they engineered, and they have special social engineers on those social platforms, and the way they engineer it is to make it as addictive as gambling. And it's very addictive, and I find myself really I have to push hard not to go on Facebook, and I'm doing a pretty good job lately. But when I get sucked into it, it's like this vortex. And plus, you get either the people that post about their lives and all the fakeness about their lives. They don't post about the times when they cry, when they're angry, when they're ugly, when they're
Absolutely a mess.
Yeah, when they're a mess, and we're all messed up.
Absolutely.
We all have moments of like, I can't handle my life. I'm so miserable. Nobody posts that on Facebook. So you see that, and on the other hand, there is like, good news, and then bad news, scary news, sensational news, and all that really affects your subconscious mind. And then you go to bed with it, you dream about it. It becomes a part of your subconscious mind. It puts you down, and it also decreases your self-validation.
It's amazing because it's so darn easy to spiral down, like you just said. And, Facebook and all of them, it's that comparaphobia. I look at my friends and they're on vacation and their kids are smiling. And I look at my husband and I go, our kids never smile. They never let me take pictures. They draw, Mom, stop. But see, I gave up and I thought, you don't want your picture taken? That's absolutely okay by me. This is my life. This is my real life. But we go through that comparaphobia. It was interesting.
And there's also a lot of mom shaming online.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, mom shaming. Yeah.
Oh, like I'm better than you. I'm a better mom than you.
Like this is not how you should treat your kids. This is not how you should do it. Oh, you post them like running through a puddle. Are you crazy? This is so unsanitary.
Isn't that, and it's so funny because I always say you never tell someone how to parent because you don't know what the dynamic of their kids are, right? And our kids don't come out with manuals. It's not like you can look up, they're running through a puddle, what do I do? Right, go to the outline. It's ridiculous. The other thing you said that was interesting, the comparaphobia on Facebook, when I was getting my lashes done one day and the young girls were posting something, and I want to say it was on Instagram, and they said, within, talking to themselves, because my eyes are closed, within 20 minutes, let's see if I can get over 200 likes. If not, I'm taking the post down. It's a bad post. And so I'm listening to this. So finally I said, about 5 minutes in, and I said, how many likes do you have? They didn't even know I was really paying attention. And she said, I only have 140. She goes, 5 minutes. If I don't hit 200, I'm taking it down. I said, why? And she goes, it was a bad post then. I said, so you're validating yourself on what people that you may or may not know like or dislike about what you posted. Who cares? And they just, there was a moment of silence. They must have been looking at each other. And then they said, well, you don't know. This is important. And I go, no, I do know. What you're doing, it's not important getting likes or not likes. And that you're going to actually take the time to go back and take a post down because you didn't get enough likes and it's going to make you look bad. I said, just listen to that logic for a second. They're young. They're in their 20s. I have to tell you, Orion, I was stunned that this is exactly what you just said, is how they validate that I'm good enough or that I'm popular enough. Who gives a crap? who really gives a crap? So it's just interesting. And I want to talk about one other thing. So all of that stuff that we just talked about, that spiraling, it creates that self-doubt. So what do you tell your
Yes.
clients? How do we get over that self-doubt? We all got it. How do you get rid of it?
We all got it. We will always have
Totally.
self-doubt. So the first step is to learn how to listen to your intuitive voice, how to listen to your intuition. I got really good at asking myself and trusting my own answers. And in most cases, they're right, and sometimes they're wrong. But you better do a mistake and learn from it than not do anything at all. Some people are so stuck in their self-doubt and fear, they never take a step forward.
Yeah.
So I say, just take the step. Just go for it. I mean, don't do something reckless or dangerous. But if it's something in your business or a move, when I was, wow, how old was I? Oh, when I was 21, I used to work at a car dealership. It was new cars, and I freaking hated my job. I was in a showroom for 12 hours. I was good at sales. I didn't even have a license. I sold new cars.
Isn't that funny?
Yes, and I just didn't like it. And then I went to the bookstore. I found a book about Japan, and it was fascinating and beautiful. And my soul was like, oh, I want to go there. It's so amazing. I never traveled out of the country. I was only 21. And then I looked at the book, I bought it, and I highlighted all the places I wanted to go. And then, after visualizing and looking at and seeing it, I gave a 2-week notice. I would make good money, but I never saved anything. I only had $700 in my pocket. I bought the airline ticket. And I went to Japan after 2 weeks. I didn't know where I'm going to stay. I didn't know anything. $700 were about good enough for 3 days in Tokyo back in the days. And I just went. And everything worked out. And I found a job. And I actually found love. I was with this Japanese man for 3.5 years. And he was... I went for like 2-3 weeks and ended up staying for 3.5 years because I found love. And he was an extraordinary man, and I learned so much from him. And we traveled, and I covered almost all the places that were highlighted in that book. And this was one of the best experiences of my life. I'm blessed to have so many experiences.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm married to an incredible man right now that I love with all my heart. And if I didn't take that step when I was in my early 20s, I don't think that, coming from, a smallish place and never seeing the world, I don't think I would be where I am today. It's like one step of courage, another courageous step,
Absolutely.
Another courageous step. And I made mistakes in my life, bad mistakes, and I suffered from them. But as long as you're willing to take the mistakes and take responsibility, which means the ability to respond to those mistakes and learn the lessons.
Absolutely.
But also really taking responsibility to your part. In any relationship, it doesn't matter how bad it is. In any mistake you make, don't blame other people. Like, look back at yourself, learn the lesson, and then you can climb up to the next step of your evolution.
Right. That's right. It's really true. And I think it was Steve Jobs. I don't remember. He did a commencement speech, and I don't remember. It was one of the Ivy League schools, I believe. And in his commencement speech, he says, I look back now at all of those steps that I made. They were unknown, right? They were steps that were unknown. He goes, and now when I look back at those steps, good and bad, ugly and disastrous, Every one of them were necessary for him to become who he ultimately became with Apple and all of that. And I thought about that after listening to that commencement speech, and I said, it's true. When you look back, you think, oh, that needed to happen for this to happen. I had left a job, interesting, I was in my 20s, working for Chrysler Credit was the name of the company, and I was really good at sales. I had grown the leasing business end of it because
You're the best.
I was the best, and I taught all of the dealerships how to leverage and make money and what the appropriate client was for the leasing. And I remember I went into my regional manager and I said, there was a sales position open. I said, I think I'm a natural. The dealers, they're relating to me. Look I've grown the business like 1,000,000%. It was extraordinary what I had created. And he looked at me and he said, you're a female. This is a male-dominated industry. They'll never let me promote you. And can I tell you, Orion, I was taken back. I thought, what? I'm doing a good job. How can you not promote me on merit? Is what it is, right? That was the time in the 80s. I left that job, got another job selling insurance because a friend had recommended it, blah, blah, blah. And that's where I met my husband, and we're happily married 27 years. So at the time, as devastating as that was, it was a necessary step for me to become where I am today, but for me to meet the man I love and for me to have the credentials to be able to create my business 18 years ago. Everything makes sense, but people are afraid to take the leap of faith or to take that step. And, you kept saying fear, being courageous, having the courage. These are all emotions. How do you tell your clients that, because we're emotional beings, how do you tell them to navigate all of the emotions that humans feel? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a loaded question.
I know.
So emotions are important, especially for women when this is our strength. And when people say, oh, you're too emotional, just say, thank you. That's my guiding system. We know through contrast. If we are disconnected from our emotions, we don't know what we want. We need that contrast to know. I went to India, and the monks were also talking about at one university. The monks were saying, yes, you got to feel your emotions. It's really important. You got to let the tiger devour you, but don't stay there for more than 10 minutes.
Oh.
So actually, when you are, 10 minutes is advanced. Sometimes it will take 2 hours. Sometimes it will take 24 hours of crawling under the covers and crying.
Absolutely.
And actually crying is such a good release rather than holding all the tension in their bodies. So many people hold trauma and tension in their bodies, never attend to that. And then it manifests in cancer or a different terrible disease or some body malfunction. So emotions are so important for us. We need to learn how to connect to them. So when you feel sad, instead of running away from the tiger, or when you feel angry, if you feel angry, you want to be non-reactive, which is so hard. I am reactive. I'm quite passionate and reactive. What I'm working on, which is something I work on all the time, and I became better at that, is to isolate myself from the situation, but then take the time to go in. Even if you're with a partner, you just say, listen, I can't speak right now. I'm seeing red. This is too hard. I need time off. And you can even set a time to go and talk again. But you take the time off and then you go in and you feel the emotion. You actually feel the sensation in your body. How does this feel? And you breathe into it, and you're not trying to let it go. You just feel it. And the more you feel into it, the easier it is to let it go. Another thing that you can do, Tony Robbins talks about this triangle of changing your focus, language, and physiology. So what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on all the hurt and the pain, or can you focus on something else? Maybe start with a simple gratitude practice, or focus on on, like, this man hurt me, but yesterday we had an amazing date night. Think about that. Focus on the good thing. Or talk to somebody who will help you refocus your mind on the better things. And then you change your language. The language is the words that you say to yourself when nobody else is listening, or the word that you say to the external world. If you keep complaining, that's where your mind is going to go, and that will create a negative emotion. And the most potent one that I found is changing your physiology. Physically, go and move. Get yourself out of the house. Go and do hip circles in the ladies' room. Go move your body, because our mind affects our body, our bodies affect our mind, and there is anywhere in the world, if you see a depressed person, they're like this. A happy person, they're like this. So those movements are triggers for our emotions. So if you just, instead of like crawling in a ball, just like move your body, open your body, breathe, because there's also different in breathing, and Gary's shallow breath that get you hyperventilated and really stressed out, and happiness is like happy, excited, deep breathing. So you change that physiology in the form of breathing, in the form of like just changing your body, and then you can shift and change your emotions. And you do that when you are at a place where, okay, I need to shift and I can't feel this right now, or this has been a little too long. Emotions are transitory. We never stay in one emotion.
Yeah, and we are emotional beings, and to deny that or push them down, I think, is extremely dangerous. And that's where, like you said, we cause the malfunctions or the disease within our bodies, because we suppress. Yeah, you think you're suppressing and putting it out of your mind, but it's still alive in your subconscious, and it does create that distortion. It's funny, as you were describing that whole thing of breathing and moving your body. I can remember I was still living at home. I was fairly young, and I remember, because you're trying to find your voice, right? And after college, I moved back home for a time after college, and you're trying to find your voice after being this independent being in college. And my parents were very, very strict. My dad's, Italian, off the boat, very, very strict. And which, you know what? I look back and I think, oh, thank goodness he was so strict. But you're trying to find this voice of independence. And I would get so angry with them that I would get in my car and I would drive up to a local park, and I would get out and just walk around in nature. So the movement, it was fun. I didn't realize it at the time. I did things, I guess. I think we do things intuitively without realizing it. Now I understood why. And then when you come back, I was able to talk to them in a respectful adult manner versus thrashing out like a child, which is how they would make you feel, because they were parents, right? They didn't know that I had gone through this evolution in college. So emotions are real. And here's another thing, Orion, and I know you do this with your clients, and we're out of time, but we are emotional beings, and that we have to look at those emotions, because if we do suppress them, we're creating that lack of self-love. So it always comes back to love, right? Don't they say love is the most powerful emotion, and our highest vibration is when we're in love? And I mean, you could be in love with yourself as well as in love with another person, but that's when we're at our vibrational high, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. If there's love, you can't feel love and fear and pain at the same time.
That's right.
You're either in love or you're either in a different emotion.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if everybody in the world loved themselves a little bit more and loved each other a little bit more? What will it do to our planet? What will it do to our relationship with our neighbors? What will it do to our relationship with everybody? With the animals, with humans, with everything.
It's amazing. It's magic. And yet we're afraid, because we don't want to talk about love, and we don't want to talk about self-love, because it's the whole world is about being stoic and strong, and the funny thing is, all of that, being strong and courageous and fearless, all starts with love. So it just really, I always love our conversations, because I think we forget that the simplest emotion we can feel and share is love. And we all know what love looks like. We all know what love feels like.
And it's so much fun. It's fun to be in love.
Yes.
It's fun to be
Yes.
in joy. It's fun to be happy. It's just fun. Like it's such a better alternative than
It's
being
easy.
gloomy and
Yeah.
too serious.
Yeah.
And basically when you were in that very left brain must do type of state,
Yeah.
you are blocked from your right brain connection to the universal Google and to downloads that can come to you, and to creativity and ideas
Right.
and connection with others. So you want to integrate both. You cannot only be in your left brain all the time, because this is not how we are wired. We have both hemispheres.
Yeah, and the other thing, Orion, and then I'm going to give your information for people to contact you. But we are so we're so in our own story that we believe our own story. And when I say our own story, it's the crap that we're dealing with in life. And oh, by the way, you have crap you're dealing with, I have crap I'm dealing with. Nobody has a perfect, wonderful life, but that crap, we get stuck in that story. And that's why it's hard for us to change or come out of, like you said, move your body. My cousin going to the bathroom to refocus so that he could think more clearly when he comes back out. Me going to the park, to walk around, to think about how can I respond to them without sounding like a brat, like a little child. So again, we all have crap, man. Deal with it and change the vibration. And I think I always think it starts with love. So I love your our conversations, and I love our show, and I love the show we did on Stellar Life. So let me give your website. It's stellarlifepodcast.com, correct?
Yes, and orionsmethod.com. Orion is Orion, like the star. Orionsmethod.com.
So an S after Orion, method.com. And if you want to speak to or have questions directly for Orion, go to Orion at orionsmethod.com, and you respond. I know you're excellent about that. Guys, my partner and I are still offering on my Wisdom Decoded platform, my other platform, we're offering the free communication style assessment. We've just upgraded the reports. We are in the midst of changing the companion book that goes with it to give you even more insight on how you're showing up in the world and maybe how you're perceiving yourself, just to give you another little tool to help you navigate with the humans that we walk amongst. So again, if you want to reach Orion, stellarlifepodcast.com, which I was a guest, or orionsmethod.com, and you can find Orion. She has a bunch of cool information out there. Thank you, Orion, again, for being an amazing guest. This is such an important topic, and I know people think, oh, love, blah, how stupid love is. And reality is, it's such an important topic that we need to embrace and challenge ourselves to navigate into that realm of love. So thank you so much for being just an amazing guest.
Thank you for being you, and I love what you're doing with the communication, because I know that the way you're teaching people how to communicate is from a place of love, which is
always
the best communication ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I sell from the heart, which we talked about on your show. I teach from my heart. I think I'm always honest and authentic. You got to keep it real. But yeah, I really want the best for everyone I interact with. It's my mission. That's definitely my mission in life. So you're my sister from another mother, I'm telling you. Always a delight to have you on.
Thank you so much.
But always a pleasure, Orion. And you guys, I want to thank you for joining us, and I hope you continue to join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together that change, no matter what the topic. Today it happened to be about love and changing our perspective on love. It matters, and you've got this. You can do it, and it's easier than we always think. Thank you again for listening. Thank you again, Orion. You've been listening to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. Thank you, everyone. I wish you all an inspired week, and see where love takes you. Enjoy. Thanks.